they might assume, oh, it's because it's this plant, therefore I will water it the same as you. The
Right.
analogy I give is back to the gas tank, which is okay, if I have a Honda Civic and I tell you I put gas in it roughly once a week, that doesn't mean that if you also have a Honda Civic, that therefore you must put gas in once a week. It's not, it's by usage, not by based on the type of car, right?
I'm stealing that analogy.
Yeah,
That's
go
a
ahead, go
good
ahead.
one.
Yes.
Hey, Plant Fam. Welcome to Wind Down the Week with Angie. I'm your host, Angie, owner of Steel City Plant Company here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. This podcast is brought to you by Soltech Solutions. Today, we chat with Darryl Cheng. He's the creator of the incredibly popular blog and Instagram account Houseplant Journal. Darryl's passion for plants and engineering approach have turned him into one of the most trusted resources of the internet houseplant world. What was initially a hobby Tumblr page has turned into an Instagram account with over 500,000 followers, a foundational houseplant care book entitled The New Plant Parent, a game-changing online course, and a plant time-lapse videos that have gone viral around the world. Welcome, Darryl.
Hello, Angie. Nice to meet you. Thank you
Hi.
so much for that intro.
Thank you so much for being here. We're so excited to chat with you. You're doing incredible things for the plant community, and we just can't wait to hear all about it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Your background is amazing. I mean, as expected, right?
I almost feel like these days with us plant parents, we're like competing to see who can get
Right.
more plants in their background, right?
In their background, right. I know. I try to switch it up every week and focus on some different plants, give them the
Hmm.
spotlight a little bit.
Nice.
So, we're going to kick it off with an icebreaker. It's called Petal and Bud. So, Petal is something that has happened recently that you're excited about, and Bud is something that's coming up that you're excited about as well. So, something that already happened and then something coming up. So, I'll kick it
Okay.
off to give you an idea. So, something that happened recently that I'm excited about. Halloween, I just love this time of year. So, Halloween was a really, really fun time. I did Salem with my mom, and then we did just a Halloween marathon, and we went out to a new cider place in town on Halloween night. So, that was just a really fun time. My cousin got married on Halloween as well. So, really cool, spooky wedding. Upcoming Christmas. So I talked about this last week, but Christmas in Bethlehem is officially pretty much started. It's going to kick off on November 19th with our tree lighting ceremony in town. So we're here at the plant shop getting all the Christmas inventory unpacked and getting our Christmas cacti ready to go, and just really excited. So instead of just being in our shop like normal, we're also going to have an old German style Christmas hut down on
Ah,
Main Street. So we'll be down outside as well as having the shop. So we'll be kind of in two places at once. So really excited about that.
very nice, very nice. Okay, so yes, so for me, pedal, that would be something that just happened. It was my birthday on the 30th of October.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, just yeah, happy to be able to celebrate with some. Mostly my brother and his three kids, so they're lots of fun. Um, yeah, and then Bud, in terms of Bud, um, oh well, I'm sure we'll discuss this in the podcast, but or sorry, yeah, um, I'm currently working on a light meter, and so that's budding.
Oh,
Hopefully by sometime early next year, it should be out sometime. So yeah, that's something I'm really excited about, and happy to share that news with you guys as well.
that's amazing. I cannot wait to dig deeper into that. I think it sounds like something everybody could use.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So really, ooh, I feel like we're getting the inside scoop today. So can't wait to hear about that.
Mhm.
So what are you drinking today?
Drinking. I'm very very boring here. Just a cup of water with lemon is just so
There we go.
refreshing, and that's honestly one of my favorite drinks.
Like everybody says, we are a bunch of houseplants that need constant water and sunlight ourselves.
Hmm.
So, good reminder to drink your water at home. I am drinking Christmas City Spirits. So, I can actually see their distillery right across the street from our shop. So, they're here in downtown Bethlehem, a distillery here. So, City Spirits focuses on historical distillations and old family recipes. So, Martha's Lemonade, that's what I'm drinking. It's
Hmm.
made with cherry bounce, a delicious cherry cordial made with dark cherries, cloves, and cinnamon, and it's mixed with vodka that they make. So very delicious, very fall-y.
Sounds yeah,
So
sounds that way too.
cheers.
Yeah. Cheers, indeed.
All right, so we're gonna play a little drinking game. It is modeled off of the memory game. So it's going to be about plant care tools. So
Okay.
I'm going to say I went to the plant shop and I bought a tool.
Hmm.
You have to then repeat what I said. She went to the shop and bought a blank, and I went to the shop and bought something, and then we have to keep building off of each other till the first person
Uh,
messes up. Then the game's
okay.
over. Okay, I'll
I have
start.
really bad short-term memory.
Okay, good. I should win then. I got this. I've been losing these games, so I need a win. I went to the plant shop and bought shears.
All right. So you went to the plant shop and bought shears, and I went to the plant shop and bought some pots.
Okay. I went to the plant shop and bought shears. You went to the plant shop and bought pots. I went to the plant shop and bought soil. Is that a tool?
Sure. So you went to the plant shop to get shears. I went to the plant shop to get some pots. Then you went to the plant shop to get some soil, and I went to the plant shop and got some grow lights.
Ooh, good one. Okay, I went to the plant shop to buy shears. You went to the plant shop for pots. I went to the plant shop for soil. You went to the plant shop for grow lights. I went to the plant shop for damn it. See, I said I'm bad at this. I always lose.
No, but this is
Okay. I bought a watering can.
okay. So you went to the plant shop and bought some shears. I went to the plant shop and got some pots. You went to the plant shop to get some soil. I went to the plant shop to get some grow lights. You went to the plant shop to get some
Sorry.
oh water to get a watering can,
Mhm.
and I went to the plant shop to get some fertilizer.
Oh, good. Okay. I went to the plant shop to get shears. You went to the plant shop to get pots. I went to the plant shop to get soil. You went to the plant shop to get grow lights. I went to the plant shop to get a watering can. You went to the plant shop to get fertilizer. Did I miss anything?
Nope.
No. I went to the plant shop to get a mister.
Okay. So you went to the plant shop to get shears. I went to the plant shop to get some pots. You went to the plant shop to get some soil. I went to the plant shop to get some grow lights. You went to the plant shop to get a watering can. I went to the plant shop to get fertilizer. You went to the plant shop to get a mister. And I went to the plant shop to get a trowel.
I went to the plant shop to get shears. You went to the plant shop to get pots. I went to the plant shop to get oh my God, what did I get? Okay, shears, pots. I lose. I'll drink. What was it? What did I
uh,
get?
I think that one was soil.
Mm, darn it. All right. Well, I lose again. Your short-term memory is not that bad.
It's I think because we're talking about plant stuff, I'm like, ooh, I like this
Yeah,
stuff.
you absorb it. All right, well, let's get into it. So, first, let's hear about this light meter.
Oh, sure, yes. So I think if anybody has read my book or read some of my Instagram posts and such, people know that my favorite thing to do is measure light. Um, I literally have like 10 different light meters, spectrometers, power meters, and regular light meters. So I'm a little obsessed, but only because like I really feel like having a good sense of how bright or how strong your light is so critical to really setting your expectations on how well the plant should do. And in a sense, also being like, having a more calibrated sense realistically compared to like say a nursery. Like I think everybody knows, okay, yeah, if your windows are bigger, you get more light. If you have a nursery, like like a diffusion material over top, that gets more light. But rarely do people actually have a sense of exactly how much is it, like how much more.
Yeah.
And when I first started with plant care, right away when I read, "Oh, give it bright and direct light," I asked myself, "What exactly does that mean?" Right? And when they say medium, when they say moderate, they say low. Like, okay, well, give me some objective, quantifiable thing. So then I brought it with me here. Just got myself like this cheapo light meter and
Yeah.
just went around and realized that whoa, light levels are like really different at not only just like all times of the day, but even just what seems to be short, distances from the window, it can drastically drop off. Same with, distance from a grow light, it drastically drops off.
Right.
And yet our eyes fool us into thinking, oh, it all feels the same, right? Because, eyes, people adjust all the time. So basically, I've been using this funny looking light meter all these years. Um, and like getting more and more, but I always felt like I should make my own that has it, let's be honest, looks a little sleeker than something like this.
Yep.
um and also that I'm working on having it include temperature and humidity sensing as well,
Oh my
so it'll be three tools
god.
in one. Yeah, so that's what I've been working on. I've been working on it with like a designer and such since the beginning of 2021, and now we're getting to the stage of like actually manufacturing and stuff, so that's really exciting. It's some like I've always dreamed of making a tool of some kind,
Yeah.
so this is something that I'm super excited about. And yeah, just excited to share with everybody in later probably 2022.
That's amazing. Congratulations first.
Thank you,
And
thank you.
second, I mean, what's your background in? So are you the scientific brain behind the actual engineering of it?
Yeah, so my background is engineering. However, it wasn't it wasn't electrical engineering, so I can't actually like design the circuit board or anything. I
Mhm.
just more like manage the workflow, and I know how to source manufacturers and those kinds of things. So I've been using that to kind of make this experience of building the light meter something that you know now I think most of the time when people say they want to design a product, usually they tell you make sure that other people want to use it. It's not just something for yourself.
Right.
But I'll be honest, this is for myself. It's like
Yeah.
it was my always my dream to like not have to walk around awkwardly with this,
Yeah.
um, to be able to measure light and make some kind of accurate assessment of this light situation, and then on top of that, light temperature and humidity, and then that way, my dream is that if every plant parent had a light meter, not even necessarily mine, but just a light meter, that we would all be able to communicate light levels in a more cohesive manner. So when somebody says to you, "Oh, like my snake plant's not doing well. Oh, it's in bright indirect light." Okay, I go home and I put it in what I think is bright indirect light. Now, flip the situation and pretend we all had light meters, and I said, "Oh, most of the day for my snake plant, it's 400 foot candles." Then someone else would be like, "Oh, I'm going home and I can't even where I currently put it is only 50. No wonder it's doing so poorly."
Right.
It's also that we can again have that better expectation for how the plant is doing. And I think when you measure the light level, then what you're really measuring is sort of indirectly like the rate of photosynthesis that's currently going on in the plant. And when we know what that means to a plant, which is it's a little sugar factory powered by light, then if you put a plant where there's only 50 foot candles or something, then what you're saying is like it's like a company whose annual revenue is very small, and they have to work very lean, right? Whereas you put it where there's 400-foot candles, well, now you think of it, oh, this is a thriving company. It's like got great revenue, great margins, all this kind of good stuff. And I don't know, that's just kind of how I connect with plants, is knowing how well they're photosynthesizing.
Yeah. It just made it, like you said, it quantifies the whole experience for people who are inexperienced. Like now they have tangible numbers, facts to be able to work
Hmm.
with so that you're not just kind of in the dark on
Hmm.
literally
Yes.
about you can use that for free.
Yeah. So the exactly what you mentioned, something you said I really liked was tangible, right? So when we talk about watering, if I said to you, I water once a week, that's tangible. So you
Hmm.
know that, for me at least, it works to water X type of plant once a week. But the problem with how the plants work is that, for me, it's once a week given my light situation. So if I just tell you bright indirect light and I water once a week, if you then go and water your plant once a week and you think that you're giving it bright indirect light, then it may not work so well. However, if I said to you, oh, on average, it's 400-foot candles and I water once a week, then you have two things to look for, which is my plant in the range of 400-foot candles? Who knows? It could be 800 if you have a bigger window. It could be 200 if you put it farther away. So it's just
Yeah.
giving people two things that are concrete, and it's almost like having two data points is usually better than just one, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. What would you say that I know you get asked so many questions on your Instagram account about plant care. Would you say lighting is the number one concern that people have?
Hmm. Or not. Sorry, not even. It's not even their concern. I'm concerned that
Yeah.
they don't even really care about it. Or
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
that they don't
Okay.
care, but that they're just s literally so in the dark about it,
Yeah.
right? Because they when I'm gonna come back to this again. You tell them bright indirect light, and the person's like, "Oh, okay, so I guess that means I can put it, anywhere out of direct sun. Okay, so that goes, like, off to the side of a window." Um, But then again, objectively, if I went over to that corner and measured the light and it was 50-foot candles, which, by the way, 50-foot candles is plenty bright to see.
Right.
Um, but then you don't even realize the plant is just sitting there starving, not producing, from
Yeah.
photosynthesis, right? But then it leads to this idea that people think, oh, overwatering is the number one killer. But really, it's that it's not that you were watering it too much or too frequently. It's that the whole plant system just wasn't even working, right? Like the
Working.
engine wasn't even on, and you're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I'm throwing gas on it. How come it's not going?" Like, that's the kind of,
Yeah.
like, but again, back to the engineering, I look at it like a system. So it's not just like a following a bunch of random directions, but rather, step one is make sure it has enough light. Step two is then water it accordingly, meaning when the soil dryness reaches whatever is appropriate for that plant. And then, all the extra stuff, fertilizing, repotting in time, and all that kind of stuff follows from having adequate light first.
Yeah. It needs to be doing what it needs to be doing. Like you said,
It needs
the
to be
whole
working.
system needs to be on
Yeah.
for anything else to be able to work.
Hmm.
Oh, that's so interesting. I'm so excited for you. Can't wait to buy one of my own and put my light system into I want to go home to my apartment and figure it out. Right? I'm like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, I
Thanks.
know now if they're in the right places." So what's your number one tip for beginner plant parents, especially people that don't understand this whole system? What's an easy starting point? What do you tell them?
I would say, whatever plant you get, if it's, the quote unquote typical house plant, I would say 90% of the time you're going to read the instruction and it'll say bright indirect light. Okay. Which
Mhm.
I interpret to mean, and remember, I'm interpreting it based on having gone around and measured light everywhere. It's that, okay, you need to put the plant as close to your window as possible. That's step one. Step two is then assess how long the sun actually shines directly on the plant. If that duration exceeds, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours, of course, every plant has different kind of tolerances for that. If that duration exceeds 2 or 3 hours, then you might want to block it with a white sheer kind of thin curtain.
Mhm.
Or the thing is, if you move it back, then the indirect light that comes from just the overall view of the sky, it will change. And again, a light meter will tell you exactly how much. But that's why like that advice that I just gave is assuming that people just don't want to think about the light meter and all that stuff. They just want, just tell me where to put it. I'll tell you to
Yeah.
put it right in front of the window.
Yeah.
Um, and then the second piece of advice about watering is that um, don't approach watering as if every plant had some kind of intrinsically described like schedule, meaning like, oh, pothos 7 days, snake plant 10 days, monstera 7 days. Like it's not like that.
Yeah.
Instead, approach it as you need to regularly check on the soil, and then when the soil reaches the appropriate level of dryness, then give it a nice thorough watering. Now, I just said appropriate level of dryness, and if you put a star there, there's only three levels of dryness that you're looking for. If it's a maidenhair fern or anything that where the instruction says keep evenly moist, that means that you water it when the soil reaches almost like 75% dry. If it gets halfway dry, maidenhair fern, I'm sure you've maybe experienced it, like the
Yeah.
whole thing just turns to a crisp, right?
Yeah.
So that's one type of watering strategy. The next one is water when partially dry. So anywhere between 50 down to 25% of, left in the gas tank of water, let's call it. Um, then that's what the time when you water it. And majority of tropical foliage is going to be that type of watering. And then the last type is water only when it's completely dry. Snake plants, ZZ plant, cacti, succulents, all of these are, you don't water it until the soil is bone dry.
Yep.
And I think when people approach it that way, then I know it's a bit more difficult because it's up to you to observe. But then that also now accounts for the variance of everybody's light levels. So if you have, you know, if you're in a 27th floor condo facing south, you get sun for 8 hours shining in, then your snake plant might reach completely dry in 3 days. But
Yep.
but because I didn't tell you water every 3 days, but you're thinking, oh, when it's completely dry, it's dry like it's completely dry right now. Okay, time to water. That's different from somebody who lives on a ground floor house, trees in front, north facing window, snake plant over there. It could take 2 or 3 weeks before the soil is completely dry, and that's completely fine too. Because again, the instruction is water based on the soil dryness, not just because I said 3 weeks for you, 3 days for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We get that all the time in the plant shop. Most of our plants here, based on the light that they get, based on the types of plants that we carry, are on a 1 week schedule for us. So people say, how often should I water? I said, we water it once a week.
hmm So it's like
You
to
can
say that,
try that, but you
yeah,
have to track the soil.
right, right. Like you've established the schedule based on the observation. But then
Hmm.
the problem with saying it that way to people is that they might assume, oh, it's because it's this plant, therefore I will water it the same as you. The
Right.
analogy I give is back to the gas tank, which is okay, if I have a Honda Civic and I tell you I put gas in it roughly once a week, that doesn't mean that if you also have a Honda Civic, that therefore you must put gas in once a week. It's not, it's by usage, not by based on the type of car, right?
I'm stealing that analogy.
Yeah,
That's
go
a
ahead, go
good
ahead.
one.
Yes, be my guest.
So let's hear about your book.
hmm oh, I don't know if people can see it, but I
Yeah, they
brought,
will be able to.
just because I have it here, this book,
Wow. Oh,
the
it's beautiful.
new plant parent, and available in German as well.
No way, that's amazing.
Yeah, so this is
Wow.
the translation. Um, yeah,
How long did it take you to write the book, and when did it come out? Where can people get it?
so it took about like a year and a bit to write it. This was probably during 2017 to 2018.
Okay.
And the book came out in 2019, excuse me, of March. And I've been really like excited and thankful for all the people who've shared with me that they've got it and found it helpful. So I'm just super happy to that it has been helpful. um yeah, and it's available anywhere anywhere books are sold: Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Indigo in Canada. Yeah.
Good for you. Congratulations. That's incredible and incredible timing. I'm assuming with it coming out in 2019. I mean, no one could have anticipated the plant boom with the pandemic, but I'd imagine that, people were home reading and buying plants.
Yeah,
So,
they were like spending more time at home, realizing, hey, I want to get some plants in here. And honestly,
yeah.
that's actually how my journey began too. Like I was just at home and at the time living with my mom, and she said, "Hey, Daryl, we got some nice skylights here. Let's get some plants in here." And that's how it all began.
That was my next question is how did it all start for you? What transpired after that? So you started getting plants in your home with your mom. What happened next?
Yeah, I think one conversation in particular was really important, which was that she added to me, like she said, get some plants, but she said you need to figure out how to take care of them because I'm bad with plants. Like my mom claimed to be bad with plants, and I said, but mom, you taught me how to do gardening outdoors with vegetables and perennials and annuals. Like how come indoor plants seem to elude you, right? But she kept going back to the whole narrative of, oh, I have, black thumb, I kill everything, which I'm
Mhm.
sure you read a lot of it, right?
Right.
Which I think honestly is contributing to the problem. But anyway,
Mhm.
um, so I said, okay, I'll buy some plants and I'll try and Google the advice, and that's when I researched and realized, oh, this advice is a little bit thin or a little bit vague at times, right? Like bright indirect light. Well,
Yeah.
if people's windows are not going to be the same size, people's obstructions are never going to be the same. How can we classify things just by like a very vague high, medium, and low? So then that's where light meter first, like I discovered to use that and realize, okay, this is the way that I use the light meter. It's that I observe that the plant has been growing well for, let's say, a year or something. Then I measure its light to kind of assess its situation. So when I say that a pothos will grow well with, over 200 foot candles most of the day, it means that I've seen my own pothos do well with that kind of bare minimum level. Of
Yeah.
course, in a nursery, they're going like in the thousands, right?
Right.
But then on the other hand, I'll like, some friends, I'll go to their house and they ask me, "Hey, what's wrong with my pothos?" I'll go and measure their light and they tell me, "Okay, it's been here for 5 months and it's now looking really scraggly." I go and measure their light and I'm saying it's never getting any brighter than 50-foot candles here. So this is based on like observation, right? And I think it's harder to make this kind of assessment if you haven't measured it yourself, right?
Yeah. So next question. What is your favorite plant?
I would say my favorite plant is this Monstera Thai constellation right behind me. You can
So
see it.
beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
It's gorgeous.
it's like it's been with me since 2018, and when I bought it, it was a very small, like 4-inch pot, just like the three little heart-shaped leaves, um,
Wow.
and it grew to this many leaves. I can probably.
Yeah, I'd love to see it closer. Oh my gosh, it grew so fast. Wow. It's gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. It's so I'm really into looking for what are good long-term plants. And when I say long-term plants, I'm kind of implying that sometimes if a plant just kind of grows scraggly, no matter what light situation I give it, like or I'll give it the best that I have. If it just doesn't grow that nicely, then I'll say, well, you're cut.
Yeah.
Or by cut, I also mean it becomes a propagation experiment, right? You just chop it up, lots of
Yep.
nodes, throw them
See
into
what
like
happens.
a propagation box or something, and then see what happens, right? And I think when we have like a more like experimental mindset, then we're not so beating ourselves up if it doesn't look as nice anymore, right?
Yeah.
But
Like that
then
emotional attachment.
yeah, yeah, but then I have plants like this or like the staghorn up there that have
Mm.
grown and look very nice all these years, right? And so for those ones, I'm always like remembering, oh, okay, Monstera, both Thai constellation, regular one, Pothos, Staghorn Fern, certain Anthuriums, like they just have good longevity, and
Yeah.
so I kind of remember those guys, right?
Yeah. So tell us about your online course.
Sure, yeah. The online course I would say is like, in a sense, bringing to life all the concepts that I brought up in the book, but then also expanding on them. Because I I don't know. Well, I guess if people have ever had the experience of, writing like a big thesis or something, like, whatever you come up with at that time and submit it, you can't change it after it's there, right? So I can't change what's printed in the book. But the course was sort of like a a pandemic project where I decided I wanted to. Um, there were a lot of things that I wanted to add into the different chapters that I never got to put in, and then there's also some things where I couldn't really illustrate in the book as well as if I could just say it and show it in a video, right?
Right.
So the course is really kind of like that kind of extension. And so there's kind of like some core modules, I guess you could call it, which is like mostly those those kind of core topics. And then what I like to do is, roughly on a monthly basis, I have what are called office hours, which is like people can join into a Zoom call, and then we can talk about whatever pressing questions they might have. And then all of those conversations are recorded and put it back into the course, because generally they'll talk about some topic that's related to one of the core things, right?
Wow.
So yeah, that's how it was. And that started kind of like in the summer of 2020. um
Okay.
i.e., because it was a pandemic project, I
Yeah.
wasn't able to travel like I used to. So I decided, well, if I'm going to be teaching from home, then I might as well try and make something of it, right?
That's amazing. So how do people sign up for the course?
Yeah, they can go to well, on my website there's a tab for course, and then they just click that, and then they can log in from there. And yeah, right now I'm still running those office hours, so they can stay tuned for that either in their email or in the course itself. There's a little module that says office hour next meeting.
Awesome. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
check that out too. It sounds I love the office hour idea of just hopping on and chatting with people and answering some questions about our plants. And
Hmm.
I'm sure that just builds your community even wider, right? And you probably meet such awesome people in the plant
For
community.
sure. And I think it's also good because then, like, when, excuse me, sometimes when we're reading, like, let's say an Instagram post, we can only compose, X number of characters or something in the post, but
Right.
then inevitably there are going to be sometimes like follow-up questions, right? Or, oh, what about my particular situation? Like, I have this and this window, or I water it this way or that way, right? And so all these little nuances that we can't really address to that well in a single post
Mhm.
are addressed much better by a back and forth conversation, right?
And each case is different, to your point. So
Hmm.
it's hard to address one issue for everyone on Instagram and rather just speak to them one on one about their specific problems.
Hmm, for sure.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to be checking that out. So much fun chatting with you today. We are bringing it down now. So, going over last week's trivia question, though, it was which country has the most plant species? Do you know?
I don't know, but if I just wanted to make a educated guess, I would say um, Brazil, because they got
Yep,
part of rainforest. Is it Brazil?
it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Great job. So, for those of you that guessed Brazil correctly in our comments, keep an eye out on our social pages for your free prize. And
Nice,
then this
nice.
week's riddle, if you have what you think is the right answer, comment below in the reviews or the comment section, and we will announce the correct answer next week. So, this week's riddle is I do not eat food, but I do enjoy a light meal every day. What am I do not eat food, but I do enjoy a light meal every day. What am I? Do you want to take a guess? I don't have the answer in front of me until next week. So, but if you want to take a stab at it, do not eat food.
Well, I mean, not because we're talking about plants, but a plant kind of fits that situation,
That's what I was thinking too, like a
because
light meal.
a light meal, yes, the
Yeah.
light as in actual light.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if we're correct next week. Tune in to Wind Down the Week with Angie. It releases every Friday on Soltech Solutions YouTube channel and all of our social channels. So thank you to Soltech Solutions, Steel City Plant Company, Domasi Home, and Lehigh Valley with Love. And a huge thank you to Darryl. We will catch up with you on Instagram. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, Angie. It was a pleasure.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.